O Street.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Good afternoon. Happy Friday. We've made it to the end of the week, a week that's felt much longer than a week just because of everything that's happening around college football and around the college football world.
Yeah, football season starts again tomorrow, right?
There are a couple interesting championship games tomorrow.
There's some tonight.
It's championship Saturday. What are the ones tonight? Is the Pac-12 tonight?
Hold on, I'll have to look. There's a couple of the group of 5 ones tonight. So let me check this real quick and I'll get to you.
That's fine. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line. Both those open for you the whole hour, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Feel free to send in your comments, your weekly plans, anything you want to say. We will get to it on the text line. How do we feel about Mickey Joseph? Talk about that. What do you think his addition to the Husker football program is going to look like? How excited are you for the former LSU coach to be making his way back to Nebraska? And then also on the flip side of that, what do you want to see from Nebraska, not only over the weekend, if there are announcements, or even at the beginning of next week? What did you not receive this week from Nebraska football that you would have liked to find out? That might be a better way to put it.
A lot.
What are the championship games? Yes.
So at 6 p.m. is the Conference USA Championship between Western Kentucky and UTSA, and at 7 is the Pac-12 between Oregon and Utah.
Oh, Oregon and Utah. That'll be a good one.
And that one's in Vegas.
That one will be a good one because Utah destroyed them earlier this season. And
held them to a singular touchdown.
Yeah, that's impressive. Is Kayvon Thibodeau back for Oregon? Did he make his way back?
Like back to playing right now?
Back to playing?
I believe so. I could be wrong, so I don't want to say yes definitively, but I believe that Kayvon Thibodeau is back on the field for Oregon.
He's fun to watch at defensive end and outside linebacker for Oregon. He'll be a top draft pick here. I believe next season he's eligible. So
he's this season
or this draft,
next draft.
Yeah. He'll be eligible. So Oregon, Utah, and then Western Kentucky and UTSA. Rico, if I asked you who was the second best scoring offense in the country, who would be your guess? And I will tell you this, it's not a Power 5.
Oh, well, then that takes it out. I was like, I don't know, like Pitt or Wake Forest.
It's Western Kentucky.
Wow.
I found that out today. I was surfing through college football stats.
The good old Hilltoppers.
Yes, Western Kentucky comes in number 2 after Ohio State, averaging 43 a game.
Wow. The 2 ACC teams aren't up there? It seems like all they do is score.
So it's Ohio State averaging 45.5, Western Kentucky averaging 43.3, Wake Forest comes in at 3rd, and then Pittsburgh at 42.
Okay.
So, and then number 5 is Bama. Number 6 is Georgia. I want to have this conversation.
Georgia, like regular Georgia?
Yeah, Georgia.
No.
Number 6, averaging 40.7.
That seems wrong.
I don't think it is.
That seems wrong. Their offense is not that good.
I don't think. But think about it. They just blow everybody out.
Yeah, because they don't allow them to score. You
So
can
they
score.
could-
You
they
can
could-
score 3 touchdowns, and if you hold your opponent to 0, that's a blowout.
I guess that's a valid.
If you win
valid
20,
remark.
if a team wins 21-0, that's a blowout.
Yeah.
If a team wins 28-7, that's not a blowout.
I also feel like Georgia's that team that you're down 17-3 against in the first quarter, and you just feel like you're going to have to gain so much ground,
And when
even
you're
though
down-
there's plenty of time
If
left.
you're down 14-0 at Georgia at half, you're scared that you're going to get blown out. You're just like, oh gosh, we can't do anything. This is just the worst.
Yeah. So Western Kentucky, second best scoring offense in the country behind Ohio State. And funny, Ohio State's not playing in the Big Ten championship. All right, 402-464-5685. Let's talk about the college football playoff a little bit, because I was actually talking to Happer a little bit about this before the show. I have a weird feeling that somehow, some way, Nick Saban is going to be able to top Georgia. I don't want it to happen because I want to see a team like Cincinnati get in. I also or Oklahoma State. But here's the deal. If Alabama somehow, some way beats Georgia,
both of them make it.
100%. And Oklahoma State, as long as they take care of business, they're going to be the fourth team.
Yeah, Cincinnati
over Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to get booted.
The only way that Cincinnati can stay at 4 is if they completely destroy Houston. If they win by 2 touchdowns and Oklahoma State beats Baylor by 2 touchdowns, they're taking Oklahoma State. And it's going to be disgusting, and they're going to say, oh, well, they played a harder competition, and their strength of schedule, and their wins were more impressive, and blah, 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 and they have a quality loss. They're not going to say that, but it feels like that's what it is.
I think, and would we blame the committee for saying that?
Yes.
We would.
I would blame them wholeheartedly. Although, money is what makes this whole thing go round, so if you're looking for, a team that will bring in more eyes, it's probably a Power 5 team. But if it's between like an Oklahoma State and a Cincinnati, I'm not saying that Cincinnati has as strong of a fan base as Oklahoma State, but what I'm saying is the new blood and the fact that they're not a Power 5 team might draw more eyes to their first round game, especially considering if they play Georgia in the first round, but if Georgia loses to Alabama, they probably wouldn't unless they decided to do some weird hodgepodge and make that happen. The last time those two played was last year's bowl season, and it was an extremely competitive game that Cincinnati probably should have won. So if you get those two again, I think a lot of people are going to turn their eyes to that matchup.
Here's an interesting thing to think about. If Alabama beats Georgia, does Alabama jump Michigan for number 1?
Ooh.
Because I think Michigan will beat Iowa.
Yeah. I get so that okay.
That's interesting.
If Alabama beats Georgia by any score, Michigan will have to win by at least 2 touchdowns against Iowa. They'll have to cover the spread against Iowa.
What is the spread?
11.
Okay.
They'll have to cover the spread against Iowa in order to move up to number 1 and not get jumped by Alabama. But if Alabama wins and Michigan wins by 3, Alabama jumps them because a win against Georgia is more impressive than a win against Iowa. Which, I mean, the 1-2 really wouldn't matter, although if Alabama went up to 1 and Michigan stayed at 2, they would drop Georgia to 3, so then you'd get Michigan-Georgia in the first matchup, which actually might be exactly what they do, so they don't have Michigan-Georgia play again unless they move Cincinnati up to 3.
Yeah. Is there any way Notre Dame gets in? Obviously if Cincinnati loses and Oklahoma State loses. But if Cincinnati wins, is there any way Notre Dame jumps them?
If Cincinnati wins?
If Cincinnati wins.
Yes, there is a way if Oklahoma State wins. If Oklahoma State wins by a lot and Cincinnati doesn't win by a lot.
No, I'm saying can Notre Dame get in?
Oh, no.
That would be wild if Notre Dame somehow gets in.
Cincinnati and Oklahoma State would have to lose for Notre Dame to get in.
We get this off the text line. If Alabama wins, they are number 1 no matter what. I'm starting to lean towards that. Looking at the way that it's happened.
The way that 1 plays 4 and 2 plays 3, they would have to unless they're moving Cincinnati above Georgia. But with the way that we've seen this committee play out and how they do things, they'll move 1 down to 3, and then 2 and 3 will have to play.
Unless they move Georgia down to 4 and Oklahoma State up to 3, and you have 1 versus 4 again, and that's Alabama and Georgia in the playoff.
Okay, hold on. Oklahoma State does not jump Georgia even if they win and Georgia loses. The only way that Georgia goes down to 4 is if Cincinnati wins. If Cincinnati loses, Oklahoma State wins, Georgia loses. Georgia's down to 3, Oklahoma State's at 4, and then Alabama 100% goes up to 1, and Michigan stays at 2.
Would there be would there be a problem within the fan base or just college football fan base if Georgia loses and Cincinnati wins and Georgia stays at 3 and Cincy's at 4?
No.
Because Cincy gets in, right? Is that why?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you have
if Cincinnati wins, as long as they get in, I don't think anybody will really have a problem. But if Cincinnati wins and gets left out, there's going to be mass hysteria within college football. Like except for the college football purists who are like, oh, I don't care. You need to keep Alabama in even if they lose because I want to see Alabama play. I don't want to see Cincinnati play. And people have said that. The college football purists who are just like, they don't deserve to be there. They're a group of 5, move to a Power 5 conference, and then maybe we can talk.
If Cincinnati wins, let's just say this: if Cincinnati wins and Oklahoma State wins, and and the Cowboys jump the Bearcats,
this is gonna be a problem.
Does that move expansion along a little quicker, or give more or have a more people will jump on the train of expansion?
I mean, you would think so, but I feel like it would just be the same. It'd be the same people who want expansion and the same people who don't want expansion, and they would have their own reasons as to why this is a good thing or this is a bad thing. Like I don't think any team getting left out at any point is really going to push expansion until you have a undefeated Power 5 conference champion getting left out,
which would be Cincinnati.
They're not Power 5 yet.
Oh, Power 5, you're right.
Until you get an undefeated Power 5 conference school getting left out because of 2 SEC schools, because that seems to happen every single year. That is the only time that would happen.
What if, okay, so here's a crazier scenario before we can move on here. I'm just looking at the rankings, thinking about how this could all play out.
I'm just throwing a bunch of numbers and names out.
What if Alabama has 2 losses and still is 4th? Cincinnati moves up to 3, you still get your group of 5 team, but Alabama's 4. If Oklahoma State loses,
so Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, Alabama.
Yeah. Alabama with 2 losses.
No, you'd have to put Notre Dame in.
Really?
Yeah. You cannot have a 2-loss. You can't do it.
I know you say that, but it's Alabama. I mean,
I know it's Alabama, but I've said this before. You can't. I don't care if it's Alabama.
I know.
This isn't based off of your past. This is based off of what you did this season. This is based off of the regular season and what you have done this season. It is not based off of, oh, you were so good for so many years and you've won so many national championships. You've been in the playoff every single year, yada, yada, yada. I don't care. It's based off of this season and what you've done for me during the regular season in 2021. See, I don't care about 2020, 2019, 2018. I don't care. What did you do in 2021? Did you win all the games? Did you beat all the people in front of you? If not, no, don't be there.
I'm in that boat. I'm in that boat that the previous years don't matter, but we've seen it before this year in the first rankings.
I know we have, and I hate it.
That's what I'm saying. It's a realistic possibility. We're getting it on the text line. 2-loss Alabama will be in over 1-loss Notre Dame.
Can't do it.
No, and then same person says Notre Dame doesn't get a benefit because they don't play in a conference title.
Alabama got the benefit when they didn't play in a conference title and they got put in the playoff because they didn't lose that week.
It's because
it's Alabama. That? I remember that.
It's because it's Alabama.
Disgusting.
Rico. I'm just telling you how it is, man. It's because it's Rico.
Look, man, the facts are if you win your games, you go in. That's it. That's what it should be. Unfortunately, that's not what it is. It's, oh, will you bring more eyes to the TV set? Okay, I guess we'll put you in.
Which is,
you're the defending champion. I guess we'll put you in.
Which is why expansion is a thing to.
Disgusting.
I'm curious.
Did you hear Kevin Warren today? He said he believes that all Power 5 schools should get, if you win your conference championship in a Power 5 conference, you should get an automatic bid into the college football playoff. He wants expansion at least for that.
8.
At least for that. I don't know. I didn't read the full article, but I saw that he wants Power 5 conference champions to get an automatic bid into the playoff. I don't know what his playoff metric is or how many teams are in it.
Do you think Baylor beats Oklahoma State?
I think they have a better chance than people are giving them, but I think Oklahoma State at the end gets it done with their defense. They've got one of the best. Look, man, they have a good defense. They're kind of slept on. They have one of the better defenses in the country. Just because they're in the Big 12 doesn't mean they can't have a good defense.
Yeah, Dave Aranda has them playing well. Yeah, it's really interesting. There's going to be, huh?
You said Dave Aranda's.
Dave Aranda has Baylor playing well.
Oh, I was talking Oklahoma State.
My bad. That is weird. Okay, here's a text. It has to be what Rico is saying. Expansion needs to happen, or there needs to be a different division for those teams. Winning all your games and not having a shot at the championship just simply can't happen.
Look, I already had my expansion idea was 12 teams.
Okay.
10 automatic qualifying from the group of 5 and the Power 5. You win your conference, you're in.
So you're having like the Conference USA.
Yeah. If you got the job done and you win your conference, you're in. You might get blown out in the first game, but guess what? You did what you needed to do, and you have a shot to win it all. And then you have 2 wild cards for, your 2 SEC teams that deserve to be in, but we're going to put them in because blah, 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 whatever, stupid. But that's how I think, because like, I understand that some people will think that, oh, well, a Western Kentucky, if they win, they have however many losses they have. I don't know how many losses they have, but
I think they're 8-4.
Yeah, they'll be like, oh, they have 4 losses. They don't deserve to be in the playoff. I'm like, well, they won their conference. Why don't they deserve to get a chance? They probably won't win.
See, this is where I think non-conference games need to matter, though. Because if you're the SEC and you're scheduling cupcakes in week 11 against Chattanooga, Tennessee, or whatever, like those games don't matter. Like they need to start mattering. Where in case you lose that one, not even week 11, not just specifically that one, but I'm saying the first 4 of your season, the non-con games need to matter.
So like when Northwestern lost all of their non-con games and then ran through the Big Ten and ended up in the Big Ten title game, you like if they would have won that, you don't think they should have like
I think it's situational, because like Penn State that one year, if you remember, they were I don't remember their record. They finished the season extremely hot. They won the Big Ten title. Or whatever, it was with Trace McSorley and Saquon.
Yeah.
And then they went to the Rose Bowl. They were one of the better teams in the country at that time.
Yeah.
And so at that situation, I don't know how you can navigate it. I don't know if I agree with the 5 Power 5 champions and 5 Group of 5.
See, but the thing is, if you get hot at the end of the season and you don't win your conference title, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to be in the playoff anyways. But if you get hot at the end of the season, you win your conference title, then you make it to the playoff and you stay hot. I mean, you're one of the best teams in the country. I'm sorry about it.
I just don't know how interested people would be in a Alabama or Georgia this year against, I don't know. Tell me you wouldn't be interested in the second best offense in the country going up against the best defense in the country, even if it's Western Kentucky. But see, it's Western Kentucky playing in their conference, putting up those numbers.
And
but I'm saying
people said the same thing. I know I hate to do this. People said the same thing about UCF. They're playing in their conference. They're playing in a lower level conference. They're not playing great competition. Their offense is booty. Well, guess what? They went to the Peach Bowl, and they beat Auburn, an SEC school who was really good that year. They beat a Power 5 school in the SEC, the best conference in football, and they're a lowly Group of 5 school. Look, man, if you got it, you got it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you play or who you play. If you're good, you're good.
You're making me think today, Rico. This is interesting.
I would 100% watch Western Kentucky and Georgia. It might be a blowout, but then again, Western Kentucky might get a couple things here and there. I mean, they got the second best offense in the country. You don't know.
That's interesting. I'm curious to see how this week plays out, because
I mean, who's the best offense Georgia's faced this year?
Probably, well,
they haven't faced Alabama yet.
They're about to face Alabama, who I think is 5th in the country.
So who's to say that their defense isn't just good because all the offenses they faced are trash?
I don't know. Maybe it's because they're in the SEC. And
I mean,
that game against Clemson, obviously Clemson's not the Clemson that we're used to, but they held Clemson to 3 points in the first game of the season. And so I just think that like those non-con games are a lot. You look at that and you value a game against Clemson more than you value a game against Fordham.
Well, yeah, you should.
And so I think that there's multiple ways that you can go through this.
I mean, your record
there's always going to be negative. Like there's always going to be something wrong with however they.
And I mean, the regular season comes into effect, to make it to the conference championship game, because the regular season still has your conference games. And then if you do well in the regular season and you didn't win your conference championship game, you still get 2 wild cards. In my scenario, with the 12 teams, you still get 2 wild cards. And let's say you only lost, 1 game all season. It was a conference championship game, but you beat a bunch of other teams. Let's say you're in the Pac-12 and you beat an SEC team and an ACC team. I mean, you're going to be looked at very favorably, even if you lose to an undefeated USC or something in the conference championship game. You still might make the playoff.
Yeah. I just looking ahead at this weekend, looking specifically at this weekend. I'm curious on what the college football world and how they will react if an undefeated Cincinnati team gets left out. Going back, just looking at this year, it's going to be very intriguing if Oklahoma State wins and Alabama beats Georgia. And I truly think that then Cincinnati is going to get left out no matter what happens in that Cincinnati game.
Because the problem with this one and the difference between Cincinnati and UCF is that Cincinnati made it into the top 4 this year. Since UCF never made it, they were close, but
Yeah.
they never made it into the top 4. So the fact that Cincinnati is in the top 4 going into conference championship weekend, ESPN and whoever else might be kind of upset, but I mean, you cannot take them out of there if they win.
Here's the thing, though, Rico.
You cannot do it.
You can say that you value the Oklahoma State win over Baylor more than you value the what's it called, the Cincinnati win over Houston.
I mean, Houston's a good team.
Yeah, but in terms of
they're
ranking,
both going to be in the Big 12 in 2 years.
But in terms of ranking, you're looking at that 5-9 matchup, saying if Oklahoma State can knock off a top 10 team, and here's the thing I can see ESPN saying this backup or being pushed up against the wall and saying, hey, man, we had Cincinnati in the playoff. We had them in there all the way till the end. But now here they are. Like, is that unreal?
I
you
can
definitely see that.
Like, oh, well, they just didn't do enough.
Yeah, they just didn't do enough at the end when it all
so winning isn't enough.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I could see happening on Tuesday when the rankings come out, or whatever day the rankings come out. Usually they come out.
I think it might be
Tuesday.
Sunday, just so they
Yes.
can get it real quickly. Because then they have like the
But
bowl.
Tell me that you don't see that happening, where they're like, "Hey, man, we had them in there for 5 weeks in a row, but it is what it is."
I can see it happening.
It's going to be very,
unfortunately,
it's going to be very interesting to see how Saturday kind of unfolds with, especially if that scenario happens where Alabama somehow beats Georgia. Where would you be that surprised because Alabama is Alabama?
If Alabama beat Georgia,
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, and somehow, some way.
Honestly,
it'd just be wild.
Honestly, I want Georgia to win. I'm picking Georgia to win, but I am expecting Alabama to win just because Georgia just cannot.
Well,
for some
and
reason.
Alabama can.
Yeah.
We saw Alabama had.
They can't finish the season.
It did not look like Alabama had a chance against Auburn.
They should have lost.
And Auburn's quarterback was basically on one leg and everything, but it just did not. And I hate to do this, but give credit to Bryce Young for coming back I
hate it
at Auburn. Like, you have to.
So good, and I hate it.
Tell me about it.
Alabama is so good.
This is an interesting point. Somebody says this on the text line 402-464-5685. UCF also didn't beat the number 6 team in the country. Cincinnati beat Notre Dame. You're absolutely right. That's another wrinkle. But I'm just saying, step back and see, would you be that surprised if the College Football Playoff Committee was like, hey, man, we put Cincinnati in there like you guys wanted for however many weeks in a row, and we seriously considered them. But at the end of the day, a win against Baylor looks better than a win against Houston. I can see it happening.
At the end of the day, the Big 12 brings in more money than the American Athletic Conference.
I can see it happening. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll kind of dive into some things about the Huskers. Get you ready for Nebraska volleyball in Campbell tonight. First round of the NCAA tournament there. But we'll talk about some Husker football first. Mickey Joseph is hired. We'll give our thoughts on that, and then some of the concerns about why we haven't heard anything on the rest of the staff. And we'll do all that next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Barry's is back and better than ever. Join us there on Tuesday from 3 to 6 p.m. as DP goes one-on-one and Jay Foreman joins for Old School as we prepare for the Michigan-Nebraska basketball game to follow. Drinks, food, and sports talk. Join us for it all on Tuesday at Barry's.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
The team that just won't quit
Together on 3, 1, 2, 3.
is about to play for the division lead.
Bridgewater lays the football to the pylon. Patrick is there. Portland makes a leaping catch and into the end zone.
Sunday night, the Broncos battle the Chiefs for first place
Touchdown, Denver.
on the KOA Broncos Radio Network.
The Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs kick off at 6:20. Pregame starts at 4 p.m. right here on your home for the Denver Broncos in Lincoln, Nebraska. 93.7 The Ticket.
Have you been told your furnace has a cracked heat exchanger? Before you spend money needlessly, call Bryant for a free second opinion. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111.
Have you been to Barn Wood and Leather, that new furniture store in Lincoln? It's a whole new look. If you like country, you'll love Barn Wood and Leather. It's country with a kick. Rustic, yet contemporary. Handcrafted in America from historic reclaimed barnwood and the finest leather. Create your own one-of-a-kind look for a room or your whole home. Come see for yourself at Barn Wood and Leather, South 14th and Dahlberg. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
If you're thinking about a new career, improving your job skills, or just continuing your love of lifelong learning, Southeast Community College's Spring Continuing Education Catalog is hitting your mailbox soon. It's chock full of options. Learn how to write a compelling grant application, become a pharmacy tech, or even learn to ride a motorcycle. We even provide the bike. Check out your catalog or go to southeast.edu/continuing education. SCC, your path to possible.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Temperatures coming down a bit here for our Friday, but still very mild for December. We'll top out near 60. Winds turning a little breezy out of the north at around 15 to 20. Tonight, partly cloudy, a low down to around 31. And we will continue to cool off as we head into the start of the weekend with a high tomorrow of 49. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up our playoff discussion here. Ty says this on the text line. What about 8 teams in with 5 conference champions and 3 at large? Rico and I were kind of discussing that during the break.
I got a question for you, Ty.
Yeah, is it Power 5 or is it just...
Is it the 5 Power 5 conference champions, or are you just taking the 5 best conference champions? Yeah. So, like this year, if Cincinnati wins their conference, and let's say, I don't know, Wake Forest wins their conference, in Ty's scenario, you know, the 5 automatic bids, so you would take, I'm saying, you know, you would take the Big Ten champion if it's Michigan, whatever. Okay, you're taking the Big Ten champion, you're taking the SEC champion, you're taking the Big 12 champion, and then let's say you take the Pac-12 champion and the American champion if it's Cincinnati. And then you've got your 3 at large, then you know you could throw in the ACC champion and then you know whoever else, probably Alabama.
Whoever loses the SEC title.
Whoever loses. Honestly, like at large should just be 2 at large and the loser of the SEC championship. Because that's exactly what it's going to be every time.
Unless it's a Ohio State, Nebraska kind of deal, and Nebraska's just barely beats Ohio State, and
maybe
Ohio State's the loser of the Big Ten. Okay, let's good stuff there. We had a good interaction. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys gave us a lot of things to think about there. Yeah, I just think that I would not be surprised if Alabama wins this Saturday, and come whenever the rankings come out, Cincinnati's out, Alabama and Oklahoma State are
honestly, just everyone be prepared for Cincinnati not to be in the playoff. That's kind of what I've boiled it all down to. I want them to be in it, and I think that they would be, you know, great television, and they would offer a great game whoever they play. But just be prepared for a Power 5 or an independent team to jump Cincinnati,
and then stay off Twitter because you won't want to get in.
It's going to be disgusting.
That would be bad. All right, let's move on to Nebraska football a little bit. Rico, you kind of proposed a question earlier to me before the show began regarding the special teams coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking about Mickey Joseph first, we had some guys ask this. We get this from Austin. There's only one scenario with the coaching. They have to have their offensive coordinator already who would sign off on Mickey Joseph. If not, it's pure dysfunction. Very interesting point, Austin, because
it could be pure dysfunction.
It very well could be pure dysfunction.
If that's what you want to label it, if that's what you're saying is pure dysfunction, it could be that, or honestly, it could just be the fact that they believe no matter who the offensive coordinator is, that Mickey Joseph is the best wide receivers coach out there that they could get. Mm-hmm. And based on his track record at LSU, I mean, I don't know other wide receiver coaches, so I can't really speak on that, but I would say that Mickey Joseph is a pretty solid wide receivers coach, and the guys that he's recruited and developed down at LSU have had a decent amount of success.
And those two big names being Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
And two guys that are in the NFL now. One, Justin Jefferson, Minnesota, right?
Yes.
And then
Jamar Chase, Cincinnati.
And Terrace Marshall as well.
Oh, yeah.
With the Carolina Panthers. So those guys, here's this one, or the guy is still coaching. I'd say that's honestly the most likely. Thank you, Rico. Text talk.
Yeah.
I had to sift through that there. Yeah, I would be very interested to see where they're at or find out where they're at about with the offensive coordinator, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. They told us and they told all the fans that offensive coordinator was going to be the primary hire. The guy that they were going to find first was going to be the offensive coordinator and they needed to do it quick. Mm-hmm. They needed to do it as quick as possible to help with the recruiting and obviously early signing day is going to kind of go by and everything. And all this, Nebraska's not going to make a huge splash. We know they're going to go transfer portal heavy, and we'll see. It's going to be more about that February signing day, probably where Nebraska fans may want to pay more attention to, with guys that commit and or sign by February. When they commit, that late December or January timeframe as well. So it's going to be interesting how these next couple weeks unfold. If it is one of the things where the coach is still coaching and going through the motions of the latter parts of their season, wherever they are, then that's one thing. That's okay.
Be interesting, just thinking of the teams that are currently still playing.
Yeah.
I mean, it could still, a bowl game thing, but even then you've seen coaches leave before bowl games. So if not going to spread any rumors, if the offensive coordinator that they are going for is still coaching, that offensive coordinator would currently be on a, conference champion caliber team, despite the conference. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If rumors not spread.
I don't want to address any of the rumors. We're having some teams be talked about on the text line. I'm not even going to mention any of them because you guys can read. I mean, you guys can read the articles of the rumors and
you guys can
Twitter
go to message boards and read all that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
I will wait until
Mickey Joseph, I mean, like Rico said, track record impressive. Once again, this staff is kind of in a win now situation. They need to find success next year, and you kind of hope that Scott Frost went out there with that in mind, realizing, hey, this could maybe my last year, and I need to find guys that will have an instant impact on as part of the staff and on our players that are already on the roster and who they're looking to get. We get this also. Is there any chance that Trev can get a super duper offense coordinator that could take over next year if next year has a similar outcome? Interesting way to look at it. Also, Trev Alberts has made it very clear that he's not involved in finding the coaches. So
he's speaking with Scott Frost about, whatever an athletic director and a head coach have to speak about when it comes to assistant coach hires, but in the way of searching for assistant coaches and actually hiring them and making, the offers, Trev is not involved in that. It's all Scott Frost doing.
Yeah. So we'll see if that's okay though. Like, the athletic director doesn't need to be involved. The head coach, because we should look back and say these are Scott Frost guys. Mm-hmm. We want to say that next year. Remember the whole thing with Bob Diaco? It was, we knew this was Sean Eichhorst guy. We knew this was not a Mike Riley guy.
Sean Eichhorst told Mike Riley to hire Bob Diaco.
Told him to fire Mark Banker and told him to hire Bob Diaco. And so it's just like things like that where you don't need to have the athletic director. You need them to sign off, obviously. But Scott Frost needs to be able to pitch this guy with confidence to Trev Alberts. Trev Alberts has to buy what Scott Frost is selling and go from there. And so we do know Mickey Joseph, though, And so that is definitely an upgrade or at least a name to put to a wide receiver room. All right, Rico, you mentioned earlier that what happens if Nebraska doesn't hire a special teams coordinator?
I don't see them hiring us. Like, I don't know why, but in my mind, I just don't see them getting a special teams coordinator. I think they're going to maybe shuffle some people around and give some people some new jobs here and there. But special teams coordinator, I think it's still going to be a position coach is also working with special teams. And I mean, that sucks because you've already seen how that works out. But right now, you still need a quarterback, a running back, and a offensive line coach. And those are three really important positions. And if you hire those three, you're not going to have, the room for a special teams coach in a way of, the NCAA rules and how many coaches you can have, how many assistant coaches you can have on your staff. So it might be another analyst, unless, of course, they go the way of again, flipping people around and then hire special teams coach and have somebody pulling double duty with positions.
I'm curious to see if Scott Frost will handle quarterbacks and if they do something with the offensive coordinator and running backs coach, if that's the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, they have Mickey Joseph now being passing game coordinator and associate head coach. And so it's interesting to see if they would have, and then move Ron Brown back to being an analyst or a non-full-time guy. And that would open up spot for special teams.
Yeah.
I think you have to. And Tom says the PR move, and yeah, that's probably it to an extent. But also, you just have to. Like, it's time, man.
It's been 3 years of abysmal special teams. 4 years of abysmal special teams.
Like, it's just time to start paying attention to it and start.
Unless he takes it over. Unless Scott Frost takes over being special, like head coach and special teams coach.
But let me ask you this:
that's what Bo Pelini did.
Which one is Scott Frost more likely to do? Quarterbacks or special teams?
OC.
Come on, man. Come on. Don't do that.
I mean, I'm not wrong.
Yeah, no, I just think that there's a better chance that he takes over quarterbacks rather than special teams, and you go out and get a special teams guy.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I mean, Bill Bush has been named a possible option.
He's here and he's been floated around.
Sean Snyder was the first one I thought about. His name was getting rumored around last year before Bill Bush, and coming from K-State, and then he went to USC instead. Obviously, we all know the switch up and everything of everything going on at USC.
So Lincoln Riley wants to keep him.
There's a chance. So there's options for Scott Frost. The way I look at it also is, and I've said it before, Rico's in the same boat as well. Scott Frost has an opportunity to make changes that at 15 and 29, not many coaches would have.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting here saying, I can either stick with my own way, my old ways of things that have not proven successful and proven to be of high quality and winning football, or I can make a change and we could try something new.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of trying something new, think about it this way. If Scott Frost doesn't take over quarterbacks, if you hire an offensive coordinator and, they're going to be calling the offensive plays, if what Scott Frost said is true and he's taking a step back, why not have your offensive coordinator also be somewhat of a quarterback's coach, since the quarterback is also running the offense? And in that instance, maybe if you trust your quarterback enough, you could give him some type of freedom to make changes at the line and possibly call some plays. I'm not saying you would, but if your offensive coordinator is also somewhat your quarterback's coach, then you don't have to hire a quarterback's coach. You would hire a special teams coach, and then you get your offensive line and running backs coaches. I mean, that might work, but I wouldn't know. I've never been a coach anywhere really at all, so I couldn't tell you how time consuming that is and how difficult it would be to call plays and pay attention to the offense while also being a quarterback's coach and trying to pay attention to every little thing that person is doing.
Brian T says this on the text line: they have tried doing special teams about every way possible with a dedicated coordinator, and in all caps, failed miserably every time. Is Frost really that stubborn? Yeah, I don't know if it's one like we had that conversation last week. I don't know if it's more of a stubborn or if that he's just so obsessed with it that he wants to be involved in everything. Like I think, and we talked about it last week, Rico, is if that's the case where he's just so obsessed with it that he wants to be the guy to fix everything, then that's a good thing in a situation, in one,
certain
situation to be so obsessed and caring that much. Once again, it's not an effort thing. But on the other side, on the flip side of that, there are times when you need to say this program is bigger than myself and these jobs I just can't do myself.
Mhm.
And that's where, once again, Scott Frost has an opportunity to do something that many coaches, I would think, before this, I wouldn't have said Nebraska. Any coach at Nebraska would have had
zero opportunity to do.
15-29, 3-9, coming off your first 3-9 season since the 1960s. And you have an opportunity to switch around coaches and try new things. Something that you should have done probably a couple years ago is trying new things and making changes, but you didn't. And so now you're sitting here ahead of year 5 at going into the offseason with a recruiting class that isn't that great. You're heavy in the transfer portal. You got new coaches. You have 4 new coaches coming in, whoever those may be. One of those is Mickey Joseph. You have an opportunity to make a change, and you have an opportunity to step back and say, listen, this thing is bigger than myself, and I realize that now, and I care more about this program than what it seems. And here we are. We're going to make a change, and we're going to try our best to try, or we're at least going to try something else and see if it finds success.
Mhm.
I know that was a very long way about it.
You're fine. It was word salad,
wordy,
but it worked.
It was very wordy. And so it's just very, very interesting. Oak Valley Husker says this: hot take, Scott Frost, quote, can't find an OC, hires a special teams coach, and hires himself as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, and pays himself an extra $1.5 million. Let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Let's hope not. I know that was sarcasm.
Yeah.
Also, this guy says the QB guy taking up a full assistant spot just can't happen again. Special teams coordinator with an ability to give meaningful feedback to specialists is the way to go. I would agree. You have to get a special teams coordinator.
Yeah, you need to get somebody in here to figure this out. I just thought of this right now. I don't know if Scott Frost will turn himself into a quarterbacks coach, because he's told us before that he wants to be more involved with everything going on, not just one side of the ball. And if he's quarterbacks coach, once the offense comes off the field, whatever happens, he's going to have to talk to the quarterback to see what he saw and pick his brain and talk about what he saw from the sideline. And he won't be able to watch the special teams and the defense and try to give his input and feedback and fix things the way that he apparently wants to do, involving the entire team and each side of the ball and the 3 different areas of football. So if he were to be the quarterback's coach, that might take that option away from him. And I don't know if that's going to be something he wants to do if he's truly taking a step back from the offense.
It's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. I'll be honest. I thought we were going to know more by the end of this week. I thought
we were going to be done with coaches at the end of this week.
I would have really liked to know more, and I was hoping that we would have known more by the end of this week, by the time Friday came around.
Yeah.
And it's been a wild week, and I guess at least you can say, if you want to look glass half full, at least we know our wide receivers coach, our our passing game coordinator, and all this.
I don't know if they're going to have a recruiting coordinator. I think it's just everybody.
Yeah, well, maybe
maybe
they should look at it.
If you were going to have one, it would have been Mickey Joseph.
Maybe they just didn't want to give him a 4th position, 4th title.
My man's name tag is just massive with his titles.
It's strays across his whole desk. So so it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. All right, let's take our final time out. When we come back, we'll kind of wrap up the week. It's been a hectic week. We'll kind of recap it all, talk about how wild it was. Also, the Nixon Bulls played last night. We'll talk about that all up next, and we'll wrap up the Friday show next on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Experiencing increased body fat, low sex drive, lack of energy, or general fatigue? Vitalize Health offers testosterone replacement therapy and peptide therapy to boost hormone levels and build muscle mass. Call Vitalize Health today at 402-413-0717 or go online to vitalizehealthne.com.
Tom and Bach.
I think the hope is from Scott Frost that the culture has been built and these guys below them have learned a lot from them, and they will be able to take the mantle. I mean, that's the hope. And then what they don't have from the loss of experience, the super seniors, you can get from the portal, similar to what Mel Tucker did at Michigan State. I think that's the way they're going to attempt to build their program going forward.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You know you want that smoky, tangy, sweet, and spicy sauced and tossed Wingstop. But you just brought a haul of groceries home from the store. It's cool. No one expects you to shop and cook in the same day. So let the flavor experts at Wingstop hook you up with mouth-watering wings, crispy tenders and thighs, fries and sides delivered to your door. You can always cook tomorrow. That's why the fridge was invented. Get it delivered at wingstop.com.
Order online now from the new Wingstop located at 5001 O Street.
And now, story time from the world of Yum. I could not eat fruitcake. I would not eat it by a lake. I would not eat it with a snake. There's no amount that I would take because I'll never, ever eat fruitcake. Hey, these snacks are really good. What is this? This is Grandma's fruitcake, but it's so moist and delicious. I like fruitcake. Okay, good to know. Kids, I gotta go. All literature is a lie.
Check out Grandma's fruitcake and all the delicious desserts at Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of Yum. Barry's is back and better than ever. Join us there on Tuesday from 3 to 6 p.m. as DP goes one-on-one and Jay Foreman joins for Old School as we prepare for the Michigan-Nebraska basketball game to follow. Drinks, food, and sports talk. Join us for it all on Tuesday at Barry's.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
If you're thinking about a new career, improving your job skills, or just continuing your love of lifelong learning, Southeast Community College's Spring Continuing Education Catalog is hitting your mailbox soon. It's chock full of options. Learn how to write a compelling grant application, become a pharmacy tech, or even learn to ride a motorcycle. We even provide the bike. Check out your catalog or go to southeast.edu/continuing education. SCC. Your path to possible.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Have you been told your furnace has a cracked heat exchanger? Before you spend money needlessly, call Bryant for a free second opinion. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here one final time on the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Stick around after us. We will have one-on-one with DP and then Old School with DP and Jay to round out your week. No Husker football tomorrow, so no pregame or postgame shows anymore. Those are done for the year.
Sad?
Yeah.
Well, about the pre and postgame, yes, but football sad? I mean, I am sad. I love watching the games, but
it'll be nice to not have heartbreak.
This season
Think
needed
about
close.
how last Saturday went. Rico, I don't know what you did last Saturday, but I sat and I watched college football all day on Rivalry Saturday.
Same.
And it was fantastic. I was like, man, I'm not going to get my heart broken today from Nebraska.
It was awesome.
And I'm looking forward to that tomorrow because there's a lot of good games coming up tomorrow. We have a question on the text line, but I'll get to that here in a second. But let's look at the games that are coming up tomorrow. We have a couple minutes left here. All right, so we have Oregon, Utah tonight. How are we feeling about that one? We think Utah?
Utah. They smashed them once before. I think they do it again.
Okay. Baylor, Oklahoma State.
Give me Oklahoma State and that really, really good defense.
Okay. Utah State, San Diego State.
San Diego State is technically playing at home, so I'll take San Diego State.
Okay. Lafayette and Appalachian
App State.
State.
Just say App
Thank
State.
you. Wasn't even going to try it.
Louisiana, even though, well, no, their coach is actually coaching them.
Billy Napier's in the game?
Yeah, he's coaching.
That's such a Florida thing to allow. And Nebraska.
I'm like,
okay, let's save that one for last. Cincinnati over Houston?
Yes.
Michigan over Iowa?
Yes.
Wake Forest or Pitt?
I'm going to go Wake Forest.
Is it refreshing that Clemson's not in the game?
Kinda. I didn't realize Clemson only had 3 losses on the season. I thought that they were garbage.
They started turning around. All right, big one. Georgia and Bama.
Georgia, but I don't think they cover the spread.
Spread is 6.5.
Yeah, I don't think they cover that.
You don't think they win by a touchdown?
Apparently, this is the largest spread. This is the largest amount of points that Nick Saban has ever been an underdog at his time in Alabama.
Do you know how cheap you can get a ticket for? And by cheap, I mean not very cheap.
I'm saying over 300.
Tickets as low as $360 for the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Not the Superdome. Stadium. Holy cow, $360. I guess you're watching Bryce Young with almost 4,000 passing yards and 40 touchdowns. I guess that's something to do. All right. Ty asked this on the question line, text line, question line. What could Adrian Martinez do under Lincoln Riley at USC? I joked, Rico, win the Heisman. But I don't know if it's much of a joke because you feel like there'd be guys around him.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Riley's track record with quarterbacks, also in the Pac-12 conference. What?
I mean, I've already made my stance on Adrian Martinez known. The kid is extremely talented. I think he can make all of the throws necessary. He's just kind of has a little bit of PTSD from playing behind a very shaky offensive line for 4 years. But I think he's amazing, and I think he would do very well at USC.
All right.
I think a Pac-12 championship would be in his future.
Last couple things here. We have a couple minutes left. So Nebraska volleyball plays Campbell tonight.
Yes.
We didn't really get to touch on it earlier this week because of the Adrian Martinez news and Nebraska and
Thanks
Iowa.
a lot, Adrian.
All this. But Lexi Rodriguez, Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten Conference.
Heck yeah.
Holy cow. Just super, super impressive from her.
But didn't win Freshman of the Year because Wisconsin's outside hitter did. Ojal. Which she is amazing.
From I can't remember, Columbia? Maybe?
No, it's Poland.
Yes.
Poland.
Thank you.
Because they played like they went over like how Nebraska went to China. They played over in Poland, over in Europe for a summer, and they played her on like the Polish national team, and they thought she was amazing. So they offered her, and she was like, yes.
There's a big, we have about a minute left here. There's a big Husker basketball game tomorrow, and big because it's the first conference game of the season for Fred Hoiberg's squad. They travel to Assembly Hall, play Indiana. Trace Jackson Davis.
He's so good.
He is very good.
Look, man, you saw what Braun was able to do. Trace Jackson Davis does that much better.
It's gonna be a tough matchup.
They got to put somebody in front of him. They have to put somebody in front of him.
They get rolling at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and that'll be a fun one to watch. I'm trying to find the TV. I can't remember what TV channel it's on tomorrow. But anyway, it's on at 11. And then I guess I forgot it's going to be on BTN. But I guess I forgot following that game, you'll have the basketball postgame show with DP Strick and Jake Bachhoven. All right. That is all for today. Appreciate you guys all week long sticking around, hanging out with us. It was a wild week with USC, with LSU. We didn't even get to talk about Brian Kelly's fake accent. He's so happy to be in this great state of Louisiana.
My family.
We're done for today. Have a good weekend.
Adios.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to